Hey friends, welcome to Ask a Flower Farmer with your friend in flowers, Lisa Mason Ziegler. And y'all, I'm sitting in a different spot today. I'm out here in our equipment shed, which also happens to be home to my husband's Harleys. There is such a buzz on this farm today, literally. So much happening, getting ready for our open farm next weekend, that this was the only quiet place. And I'm realizing right now that the air conditioner's not on. So y'all look at my husband's 68 shovel head chopper Harley for a second while I turn the air conditioner on. Woo! You don't realize how hot you are, to you. My goodness, it was set on 78, no wonder. All right, friends. The way this works is for the next 30 minutes or so, I am going to do my best to answer questions. And if you would like to post your questions down in the bubble that has the question mark in it, anything about flower farming, oh my gosh, the cool just blew, and I'm sitting like right under the blower. How awesome is this? Ask questions about flower farming, growing cut flowers, harvesting, conditioning issues that you're having, and just anything to do with that. I'll do my best to actually answer them. And you know, friends, y'all are hearing me just screaming from the rooftops all about cool flowers. And somebody actually asked me, what, are you planting cool flowers now? No, but you have to think now about where are you going to be planting cool flowers or preparing to plant cool flowers if you're not only in very early spring. Anyway, I have cool flowers on the brain, so I'll answer any of those questions. So while we're waiting for some questions to get in the bubble, so if you don't already know, this is my personal invitation to you to come to the open farm that's happening here, June 29th, 2024. I'm in Newport News, Virginia. It is free and open to the public. And friends, I will tell you, people come from all over the country. I've never had anybody come into the country to come to an open farm that I'm aware of anyway. So I can't say from all over the world, but it is really pretty dadgum humbling for me. I mean, we've had people that have driven from Louisiana and Texas and Florida and Georgia and Ohio and Indiana, and we are in a really great tourist spot here. So I'm in Newport News, Virginia. Williamsburg, Colonial Williamsburg, Busch Gardens, Water Country, Yorktown are all within like 30 minutes of me, as well as Virginia Beach is on the other side of us, about 40 minutes. So it's a great vacation spot. So a lot of people come and their families basically drop them off here and pick them up later. So if you're interested in information, you can just comment open here in the comments and it'll automatically DM you the details page. We're in the middle of the city, my little flower farm. We'd love for you to come see how it all works. And I have special guests, Dave Dowling, the Walking Cut Flower Encyclopedia will be here, as well as Ellen Frost, who is the local florist in Baltimore that only has used locally sourced flowers in her design studio for over 15 years. I mean, Ellen is like the rock star of the flower farming world. Everybody wants an Ellen. Anyway, they're both here because we have a private event before the opening at 10 a.m. My students, Dave's students, and Ellen's students from our big school courses are invited to come have coffee with us and get a private tour of the farm and chit-chat. And so if you're a student of our schools, you should have gotten an email. The deadline is coming over when you have to register to do that because we only have so many places. So hop to it if you haven't done it. And if you can't find your email, just email info@thegardenersworkshop.com and Ann will get you what you need. So we'd love, and our warehouse is open. The warehouse is 4 miles away. Get a private tour of that. You can see our cool rolling machine that rolls the biodegradable film that we offer, and you can shop, obviously, and there'll be, of course, specials there. But that's where Ellen's going to be doing floral demonstrations up at the warehouse. Dave will be on the farm here with me, manning the peony patch, because, you know, that's one of his big favorite specialty crops. All right, friends, I see we have some questions, so let's hop to it here. I heard you can dry water lily flowers after they bloom. Do you grow hardy water lilies for dried arrangements? If so, what variety? I do not grow any water-grown plants, but I'll tell you, I've seen Ellen Frost's, the name of her business is Local Color Flowers. You should follow her on Instagram if you're a flower farmer. And she has a grower that I believe grows something in a pond. I guess because she dries everything. So I don't have an answer for you for that. But if you go to Local Color Flowers and maybe scroll through her profile, you can see all the stuff. It seems to me it was some kind of pod that was from a water lily or something. I'm not sure. So, no, I don't grow any thing like that. So, sorry, I cannot help you with that. I started eucalyptus in January, and they are 3 feet tall. When can I harvest them? So, that's a really great question. I was actually just looking at my eucalyptus as I'm kind of walking the farm to figure out what everybody needs to do as we're getting ready for next week. And our eucalyptus is not even 3 feet tall yet. So typically we do not start harvesting eucalyptus until early fall because you want the tips to be really papery. If you feel the lowest leaves, how they feel, you want to wait until the top leaves feel like that, or they'll wilt after you cut them. And so if you want to figure that out, just cut a stem and take it in your house. You know, that's what you should do with every crop. If you're not familiar with something or you're new to it, I mean, every flower farmer that is selling flowers, you should have conditioned every flower and kept it in your house at some point in time to get what happens. What does it look like? How long does it last? Even if you know it's a cut flower, right? Totally lost my train of thought, y'all. So wait until the tips are papery, and I don't know where you are, blessings under 6, but we're in zone 8, and zone 8 and 7B, if you with special conditions, I mean, we deep leaf mulch it and cut it down to 12 inches and double row cover it for the winter. We get it to survive over winter, but if you're in zone 7A, 6, 5, 4, that's not going to happen unless maybe it's in a house. So we wait until the fall. That's when they're ready, and it's great to have that new crop kind of coming along. Would the cool flower concept, see, this is a great question, y'all. Would the cool flower concept work for me in zone 6? Y'all, this is what I want everybody to stop and listen to for just a second. Everybody can plant cool flowers. It's just that we plant them on different timelines depending on where we are. And heck yes, zone 6, we have people in zone 3 and zone 4 that plant cool flowers under the cool flower concept. Now, if you're under the assumption that the cool flower concept is only fall planting, that is not correct. Fall planting and very early spring planting are the 2 windows that make up the cool flower concept. First off, there are flowers that winter over in zone 6. I mean, I know that Rudbeckias and Sweet William, and I just don't know, the list is so long anymore of cool flowers, I can't memorize them. So there are poppies, there are so many cool flowers that yes, you would fall plant, but everybody very early spring plants cool flowers. And you need to learn the concept, get the cool flower. The cool flower book is the first little dive into cool flowers. That's the first bite. It's an easy read book. It's just about the concept, highlight some of we have more flowers now, but the concept is in there of figuring out when you plant. Also, my new book, the Cut Flower Handbook, does deep dives on figuring out when you actually plant. And y'all, it is really simple, but you have to actually either read the book or, you have to actually do the work to figure that out. And once you know it, your eyes will be opened and you will never have to ask that question again, because I'm telling you, we are still cutting cool flowers. And now our warm has started, and it's like the biggest volumizing step you can take on your farm. And of course, we grow them all outdoors in the garden because I have no hoop houses, right? So you need to, Nell, Sorry, I can't tell from your handle what your name is. You definitely got to read Cool Flowers. There's a cheat sheet in the back of the book. I think it's page 137. That for the 30 flowers that are featured in that book, it tells you what zone they're hardy to, and if a flower is hardy in your zone, you can fall plant it. And why do you want to fall plant? They bloom earlier, they grow twice as tall, and they have twice as many stems, and they're more disease and pest resistant. I mean, it's worth the work, y'all. So get the book. What do you think the best time of year to start a flower farm for the first time? Jen, it's not really about when you actually start it, because really you could start it at any time. It's starting with the right peace of mind and information. And I would 100% recommend Lenny Larkin's course that we just launched. It's called Profitable Flower Farming, and you are the perfect person. Somebody before they have set up their farm. I actually got a text from one of my students from Basics, and she's here in town. She's the new Lisa in town, actually. She's building her farm. It's Tori, and so I think this is her third year flower farming. And Lenny's course just came out last week, right? And we ran an introductory special, which sadly that's not going on anymore. But even at $200, it is the best $200 you'll ever spend. She texted me this morning with her head exploding and smiling and saying, "Oh my gosh, Lenny's course, it will clear up, teaches you that's where I would recommend that you would start. And then based on what you're going to grow and who you're selling to, that you're going to kind of get the tidbits of in that course, that'll tell you what to grow. And then there's always something to start at any time. But really, it's not just starting to grow a bunch of stuff is the rabbit hole or the trail you don't want to follow. So that's where in my course, the basics, of course, has the aspects of flower farming, and I would say that those two courses would lead you down the pathway to get to success the quickest. And the flowers are only about 25% of a flower farm, y'all. The rest of it's the business. And most people don't ever go do it all, so they just kind of fizzle out. So just depends on how serious you are. Morning, Lisa. I'm zone 8B in the Pacific Northwest, wondering if status is one I can fall plant. I don't have success with it in spring. Status is in fact a cool season hardy annual, and people in 7A, what are you, 8B? People in 7A fall plant it. So that means that yes. And y'all, a really quick cheat is you need to know what your winter hardiness zone is, which Wild Goose knew that. But every seed on my website, we have a store. There's a cool season seed category. Every cool flower that I grow is listed there. And on each sales page, it has all that information. It tells you what winter, what it's hardy to, what zone it's hardy to. And if it's hardy in your zone, you can fall plant it. It's really that simple, right? So yes, you should for sure grow. Our status is 30 inches tall. It's sometimes we get like 20 to 30 stems off of one plant. It's absolutely phenomenal. What kind of flowers or anything you grow? I don't understand that question, sorry. Joanne, my status, bachelor buttons, and love and a mist were planted very early spring and came up well, but bunnies have eaten them down as if they're pinched off. If they survive the summer, should I let them grow or pull them up and start again in August? I'm in North Delaware. For sure. Ditch those and move on, and you need to replant in the fall at the proper time. Annual means 1 year. And that typically means it gets weak after 1 year if some of them survive. And why would you want to do that? You just replant in the fall and have a robust plant at the proper stage to just hit the ground running. So definitely replanting is for sure what I would do for that. And status is not, that's a transplant, but the other two are direct sown, and that's just an easy thing to do. All right, CVB and tabs. I know you put them in harvest buckets. How do the flowers behave when recut and sent to customer, do you recommend just flower food at that point? So Redgate, no, it depends on who the customer is. So all of our buckets get CVB and tablets to kill bacteria, and then normally that would be on a Monday, let's just say. Tuesday, those flowers would have all been packed to go to Florist. And in our Florist buckets, we put holding solution, which those are the tea bags. Tea bags are a type of flower food that don't have as much nutrition in them, but they have the bacteria killer, a pH balancer, and just enough food to keep the foliage green, to keep the buds colored up. But it's not a lot of food like regular cut flower food has, because you know when you're sitting on flowers or you're sending them to florists, you don't want to accelerate the bud opening. You want that to happen when it gets to the home. So holding solution when they go to florists or supermarket bouquets. But when we send them home with retail customers, we give them packets of real cut flower food to continue that journey. And so that's something that every one of my books, I think, in fact, I taught, maybe not Cool Flowers. Vegetables Love Flowers and the handbook also have those steps mapped out for you. Hi, Lisa. My internet went down when you were answering my question. Can you just repeat what you said? I have no idea what your question was. I am so sorry. So you can go back and watch the replay. Sorry. And I hate internet, y'all. That's why I'm sitting in this building. There is internet back here, but I can't do it outside. It's just too weak. Thoughts on super small pro cuts? Are you talking about super small blooms? I would guess that's what I'm going with, because I will tell you the first time I experienced that, which is the first time I grew them really late into the season, so the days were shorter, which meant the plants don't bloom and grow as much, or they don't grow as fast, and the blooms don't get as big because they don't have as much sunshine. Ours were really small, and so what I did, instead of putting 10 in a commercial bunch, I put 15, and I delivered them because I had customers that took 10 to 20 bunches every single week, and I was really nervous. I thought, oh my gosh, they're going to hate them. Before I got home from delivering, there was already messages on my machine saying, oh my gosh, we love those small sunflowers. We want more. They're just different, right? I mean, if they're about that big, because the great thing about sunflowers is they last forever, you know, and people don't even recognize them as sunflowers. So we love them. And that's why we plant ours so close together. And as a matter of fact, today on the Sowing Circle, I don't know if y'all know about my club. You can comment club here, CLUB, and get a link. I have a club, a private membership, and on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock, we do what's called the Sowing Circle. Is that not the sweetest name ever? Jesse thought it up. And I start my weekly sunflowers there, but I also sow a tray of something else each week, just demonstrating how I do it and talk about that kind of stuff. But those small sunflowers were a huge home run for us. Any tips or tricks for dealing with Japanese beetles? Oh my gosh, napalm. So we're fighting, you know, it happened last year and the year before, you know, the week before, our big open farm with visitors coming from all over the Japanese beetles land. All we do for the Japanese beetles, first off, we do not use traps. That actually attracts Japanese beetles to your yard. So you don't want to do that. But we hand pick them. I mean, when I say hand pick them, I just have a bucket or a small bucket, plastic or stainless steel, that has soapy dishwashing liquid water in it, and I put it under the leaf or the bloom and hit it, tap it, and they just drop right in. So I'm not really picking them. But I do that twice a day during Japanese beetle season, which is about 14 days. And, you know, I tell people it's as valuable as walking your field 3 times a day, squeezing peony buds, trying to figure out when they're going to get ready to pick, right? And so here's the moral to the story. For every mating pair of Japanese beetles that you eliminate, that is 60 less babies potentially that you won't have next year. So it does make a difference. And I mean, that's all we do. There is no pesticide. I mean, we wouldn't use a pesticide, but that's just not very, I mean, you'd kill everything, including every living thing on your property, birds, frogs, turtles, anything that would be strong enough to really take beetles out. And I know that people talk about using the milky spore in the lawns to kill the grubs of the Japanese beetles. First off, that's really controversial according to Virginia Tech, whether it really works or not. It takes several years, and you have to do a lot of applications, not a lot, annual, I think, and it's quite costly. And for our big property, that's just not feasible. I mean, we have 3 acres, right? That just wouldn't be cost effective. So hand picking is what I'm saying to you. I do it. I just actually did it. Bobo was belly aching that about the beetle damage when I was right before I came on here. So I thought, well, I'm going to get my blue bucket. I have a little stainless steel. It's actually one of Tucker's water buckets that goes in a crate. I just filled it up and thought, I'll go look. Well, I could hardly find any because they're all active this time of day, right? And when you do find them and they're awake, they're quick to get away. The time to do it is early in the morning, like before 8 o'clock, or at dusk, where they're kind of snuggled in. And we just get hordes of them. And it just makes me feel good to know that I'm eliminating potentially those from next year. Do you direct sow status in the fall or transplant? Status, again, that's something that's in the handbook, and it's on the sales page of the seed. Whenever status, I've never heard of anybody direct sowing, so I transplant it. But when you're reading the sales page on the seeds, if it does say something like transplant or plant directly in the garden, let's just say for rudbeckias, right? Because they can be direct sown. Some people have luck doing that. I always list the way that I do it first. We hands down always choose to start transplants whenever we can. It is far less work and highly successful. Not the case with direct sowing, and that's why farmers of vegetable and flower farming, that's why they rarely, I only direct sow like 5 things in the fall. The rest of them are all transplants. Let's see. Hi, Lisa. This is not a question, but I wanted you to know that we are all so thankful for sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you so much. That really helps. That is my true gift. That's why we had to break down and have a membership, y'all. I mean, we do in the membership. I just love teaching, right? And empowering other people to do this. You know, I thought I was the least likely suspect to become a flower farmer. I live in the middle of the city. I was barely a gardener. I have nobody around me. I mean, there's no farmers around. I knew nothing about it. And I mean, this was almost 30 years ago now. It was back in 1997. We didn't have internet then, y'all. And I mean, I was definitely an island in the middle of a big ocean, right? And I mean, I just fumbled along and found myself. And because of my dyslexia, it makes me very optimistic. That is a great gift of dyslexic people. We're chronically optimistic and think that anything is possible. And I just kept on and on and on. Well, not most people, I've learned, are that way. They're the complete they fail a couple times, they throw in the towel. So I love empowering other people on how to actually do it. And so the membership is where I get to teach with Suzanne and I. Sorry, y'all, I'm itching my nose because I think I was messing with those flowers with the Japanese beetles. Suzanne and I make a master class a month that goes into my membership. I do a live Q&A once a month based on anything, but you know, a lot of questions about what the master class was about. I do the Sowing Circle every week. I do a private podcast for them. And we have a community where people are talking and carrying on, and I chime in, and it's just because I just love helping people. And anyway, so if you're interested in the club, comment club. Would love to have you become a member. Texas 8B, please share tips for growing biennial Sweet William Electron. Love your Amazon Sweet William recommendations. All right, so Sweet William, as I talk about in the Cut Flower Handbook book, Sweet William is one of the families, just like Rudbeckia, that is a very confusing family of flowers because there's in the Sweet William is dianthus. That's the mother name. That's the family name. And under that umbrella, there are perennials, there are true biennials, and there are hardy annuals. And it's so confusing because people look at me and say, I mean, I get the question all the time, well, aren't they aren't they perennials? No, they're not actually. There are some varieties that are perennial, but I don't grow any of those. So, Sweet William Electron, which is probably the most popular commercial cut flower grower, Sweet William crop, is a true biennial. What that means is it needs to be started and gotten planted into the ground by end of summer, because it needs to get in the ground and get established and get to a certain size, a nice little established transplant, to go through winter. So it gets what's called vernalization, which is cold treatment, basically, before it'll bloom. If you plant it too late, or you plant it in the spring, it'll just grow a beautiful plant, but you will never, ever, ever get stems. Y'all, my nose is about to make me crazy. And now I've started itching it. It's just going to itch and itch. And so we start the seeds to Electron. My first frost date is mid-November. It's not really about yours. Your zone only tells you what you can plant in the fall, y'all. That has nothing to do when you plant. It's your frost dates. My first frost date is mid-November. And so we start, I'm just thinking, we'll be starting Electron probably the first or second week in July to grow it up. And I mean, this is when I'm really grateful that I don't have a greenhouse for starting seedlings, because it's too hot in a greenhouse. Conditioned building, which has my grow room in it, I can put those seeds to be sown and sprouted in a cool spot, and that'll get them to sprout. So we'll be trying to plant those out in the garden like the 1st of September. Sorry, y'all, my internet's going, and I see we're about ready to wrap up. So I start Electron now, plant it the 1st of September, long before all our other cool season hardy annuals. So friends, I hope you'll join me for the live shopping show inside my app this Friday at 12 noon. It's Native Pollinator Week, and we'll be talking about that and talking about I can't wait for people to meet my native bees next weekend at the open farm. Hopefully they'll be out and about. And so friends, the live show, 12 noon inside the phone app. If you don't have my live shopping show phone app, you can get it at your phone's app store. Just search Gardener's Workshop and download it. It's free. Join us live or watch the replays. There's a lot more features when you're on the app. We have a giveaway each week. You have to be in the app to be able to enter for that. So friends, I'm going to wrap it up because my internet's going to probably go wonky again. So I can't wait for next week when I'm going to see everybody. Remember, if you want to learn more about my club, you can comment club. If you want to know more about the open farm, you can comment open, and that'll DM you in your DMs the page where you can go and look all those up, or you can find it all at thegardenersworkshop.com. And now I'm going to go get ready for the Sowing Circle, which happens at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesdays inside my club, the membership. And so if you're a club member, I'll see you there, and I'm going to go talk to Bobo about what she wants me to sow today, because we want to have a lot of seedlings sprouting for next weekend, as well as what we sowed last week is all sprouted and looking beautiful, and I'm going to show you all that too. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining me, and till we meet again, ciao. Maybe.